Howdy, and welcome to the Sam and Cole podcast. Sam Kavaris, Cole Pepper here, and Cole, I would venture to say it's probably is the start of back to our regular retinue of doing 2 and sometimes 3 a week. As believe it or not, even though it's the third week of July, it's all actually going to start starting here, so to speak. So, by the way, we want to thank the guys at Champion Cycling. I went out there on the 4th of July, Cole, and it really is it's a show out there. That's for sure. A lot of people from the beach come by, and it's hot dogs and beer, and it's a pretty typical American. A lot of people who are in their bathing suits, who are on their bikes.
Some of them playing the national anthem on guitars.
That is correct, causing all kinds of causing all kinds of legal issues, but nonetheless. Thanks to the guys from Champion Cycling, 3 locations, Arlington, the Beach, and Mandarin. A couple times I've ridden my bike to Jaguar practice, and if you're going to do that, 9:55 is when they start, and it's a week. We're taping this on Friday. It's a week from today, Cole. Any new thought about any of that?
You know, I do. I was thinking about this just today. About we know that Blake Bortles is story, 1, probably 2, 3, and 4, how he improves. And the next stories out of that are, does the offensive line improve? And do the young receivers take the next step? And does Julius Thomas, can he still look like he did with Peyton Manning throwing in the ball, with Blake Bortles throwing in the ball? And all this boils down to one thing that, now, obviously, wins and losses is the ultimate judge of a season. But I think the number one stat, if you want to follow a stat, is touchdown passes. And
versus interceptions, or just flat out?
This year, I don't even care about interceptions.
No kidding. Huh, okay.
Here's why. Next year, I'll care about it.
Right.
But then it's not like this was Peyton Manning's rookie year when he threw, what was it, 19 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, or something like that, where he threw a bunch of touchdowns and a bunch of interceptions. Thought, okay, he's going to take the next step. And this is not just about Blake Bortles. This is about the pass protection that gave up a league high in sacks. This is about the young receivers who need to take the next step. It's about all of that. It's about whether T.J. Yeldon can impact, the way that defenses game plan for Bortles. But I would take a 22 touchdown, 28 interception season from Blake Bortles, because that would mean 3 things. Number 1, he's getting the ball in the end zone. Guys are making plays in the end zone. They're scoring points. Number 2, it means that he probably played the whole season. If you have that many interceptions and touchdowns, I mean, you pretty much got to play the whole season in order to do that at this level. And number 3, it means that they're taking shots down the field. They're being aggressive. They're pushing it down the field rather than this very safe, don't make a mistake mentality, which really crept into things last year for them. So I will take 22 and 28. By the way, 22 touchdowns would also be a Jaguars record for touchdown passes in a season.
It certainly will be interesting if under Greg Olson as the offensive coordinator, if they only throw 22 touchdown passes. And because I think he would like to see more than that. He would like to see more touchdown passes than that. What's the record? 50 or 51? Brady threw 50 that year. So I mean, there's
whatever it is. But the Jaguars,
it's way up there.
The Jaguars record is 20, Sam.
Oh, I know.
20 touchdowns in a season, and that's it.
He did have Fred Taylor on his team, and there were some other
nobody since then has done anything else. I mean, again,
nobody since there has been that any good who could do that.
Right.
So, and also he hasn't had any kind of receivers. So, in order for that to happen, as you said, Bortles has to take that step forward. I believe he will. Okay, I think he will. All right. B, the offensive line has to give him that kind of protection. So, who's going to be on that offensive line? Jokel's going to be at left tackle. His second full year there. He needs to either step up and show that he's worthy of that number 1 pick, or there'll be competition at that spot this time next year. Zane Beadles will compete for that job with the draft pick A.J. Cann, and if A.J. Cann is more than a project, I mean, here's a smart guy, 51 starts in college, started 4 years, basically academic All-American. I mean, just a really interesting guy, but only 6'3". I say only 6'3". He also weighs 320.
Yeah, that's fine for a guard. That's fine.
Right, real powerful kind of guy, but different than the other guys on the offensive line, whether it's Jokel or whether it could be what is also going to be a competition at center, which is Luke Bowanko and Stefan Wisniewski. Now, Wisniewski's coming back from the shoulder thing, but that will also be a competition. Right guard, Lindner. Right tackle, Parnell. Lindner in his second year was good. In his first year, will be better. Parnell will be an improvement at right tackle because of his age, his experience, and his talent.
Low bar to improve.
Well, that's true, but you still are saying here's a guy who was a starter, who had started games.
Yeah, they should be better as a line. They should be better based on all that, and they should be better in terms of.
Let me ask you off the top of your head, who wins the job at center?
I think it'll be Bowanko at the beginning of the season, Wisniewski by the end.
So Wisniewski will still be on the team even if Bowanko beats him out.
Yeah, I think it's and I'm this is a total pull it out of the air kind of thing. I think it may take him a little more time on his shoulder to get all the way back.
What about left guard?
I think it's Beatles at the beginning of the season, and this time next year I think it's Can.
And so how many offensive linemen do they keep? 8?
8. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you think?
So those are 7 guys, and then a swing tackle is what they'll be looking for.
Yep.
Right. A guy who could probably play either side.
Maybe Austin Pastor is that guy because he's played tackle and guard. So the real issue is there's no guarantee they have anybody on the roster who can be a starting left tackle.
Right now, who's not Luke Bowanko, who's not Luke Jokel.
Well, who is Luke Jokel? He hasn't shown that he can definitely be that guy, right? I mean, so he's got to prove it, and if he doesn't, then what? Or if he gets injured, then what? I mean, that's a tough position to find a more than serviceable guy, but that's a tough position because Pastor cannot play left tackle. He's a right tackle and a oversized tall guard type if he's that guy.
Right. All right. So they're we're looking at the tight end position. Julius Thomas, I think, is the man. I think he's anytime Bortles gets in trouble, that's who he's going to look for. And I think that's going to make Mercedes Lewis better. At wide receiver, Allen Robinson showed in the OTAs and in the minicamp that he can be that kind of that Y receiver, not the X guy, not the deep threat, but the Y guy. Yeah. And he's also got that 6'3", 210-pound body that he can maneuver around very well. And I think the question mark is Marquise Lee. Does Lee step up and have the things that happened to him? He's been injured for, it seems like, the whole offseason. Yeah. Is he step up and become that stretch the field guy, the guy that we saw on occasion last year, who Jerry Sullivan really believes has the potential to be a number one receiver in this league?
Yeah, I don't think there's a question about potential with Lee. I think the two things that you have to wonder are, number one, can he stay healthy? And number
availability,
two,
right?
Can his head be in the game the right way?
There you go.
Last year where it just wasn't.
Right. So those are the two. I think those are the question marks. Some of those are answered. Some of those are just question marks. Now, as we go to training camp defensively, Jared Odrick is kind of the linchpin of what the Jaguars are going to be trying to do. And when you look at the fact that they're not going to have Dante Fowler, they're going to have some competition and a variety of people, whether it's Chris Clemens, whether it's Andre Branch, or whether it's a guy like Ryan Davis at the Leo position. Huzlesny apparently is fully healthy and ready to go. Telvin Smith showed that he can be an every down player at that weak linebacker position in the league. So in the defensive backfield, they've got Devon House. They've got, they've got some other guys that are or are not potential starters. Aaron Colvin is going to have something to say about that. Dwayne Gratz is going to have something to say about that. What about, Jonathan Cyprien has got to show that he's not going to make the same mistakes that he made last year. And is Sample the guy there that's going to be next to him? Because he's certainly got the body and the pedigree to be that safety that they're looking to stand next to Jonathan Cyprien.
You're talking about on both sides of the ball, the guys who were draft picks in the first Dave Caldwell draft, first and second round. Joe Cole on the offensive side, Cyprien on the defensive side. This is the crossroads year for those guys. They both have to prove quite a bit more. I know Cyprien became kind of a fan favorite at one point. I have not seen him do anything that would indicate that he's lived up to a number 2 pick so far. Does he have the talent? Well, he may have the physical skills. Seems like he's got the right attitude. He's good in the locker room the whole bit. He's good on interviews, but he's got to play better. And I think maybe they've got to find a way to utilize him better within that scheme. I'm not sure that, I think if you look at how he's used, they may need to tailor the way that safety spot is used more specific to his skills. And I almost think, Donovan Darius 2.0 in some regard with him in terms of the best way to use him.
Yeah, don't ask him to cover anybody very much.
Yeah.
And I think some of that had to do with the lack of talent at the other safety position. Where's Josh Evans fit into this whole thing? So those are kind of the things we're looking at, but I agree with you 100% in your assessment of that of the defensive backfield there. And Cyprien, look at the Dallas game last year, and that's his whole career in a microcosm. Mm-hmm. And after the game, he just admitted, I just played terrible. I was following the guy here. I took a bad angle there. I made a bad tackle there. And when that happens twice a game, it costs your team those critical third down conversions and the opportunity for your offense to get back on the field. I mean, and he knows it. And like you said, good locker room guy, understands where his deficiencies are. Can he make that step forward? This is the year.
And if as I said, on offense, if the key stat is touchdown passes, on defense, the key stat is turnovers forced. They have got.
And they got to have more. What they have last year? 4 interceptions.
Yeah, something
tied for last in the league.
Yeah, they didn't create anything, and so which is remarkable with an improved pass rush. Now, granted, they weren't exactly the '85 Bears, but with an improved pass rush, you would have thought it would have led to more turnovers, and it didn't.
Right.
And that needs to happen this year.
Exactly. All right, Cole. So what's going on with the Armada? Big win against the Cosmos on a Saturday night. They break a lot of streaks. They went more than 300 minutes without scoring. And then the Cosmos had gone 11 games without losing.
Yeah.
And both of those streaks ended with a 1-0 victory from a fairly depleted squad that the Armada had to send out there, basically without maybe would you agree, their top 2 or 3 players, two of their top 3 players?
Their top 3 offensive players. The guy who was their best player, their as voted on by our analysts, MVP in the spring, and their starting goalkeeper all didn't play.
Right.
And despite that, they get the win. And I think part of it is because they decided to play a little bit more directly and not kick it around quite as much. But more to the point, once they got a lead, for the first time all year, they decided they were going to protect the lead, and they would be happy with a 1-0 victory rather than score the first goal and then look for a try to go out and go 4-0.
How English of you.
Yes. They park the bus.
That's right. And that's
all right.
That's okay. A win is a win is a win. That's right.
And so I think for a great deal of the spring season and even early here in the fall, they have been trying to install a particular mindset and a particular approach, a particular system. And I think they realize now, hey, that's all fine and good, but you need results. You need to get 3 points at home. You need to find a way to get a point on the road. And then you climb back into the chase here. There's still an awful lot of time remaining in terms of the fall season and a chance to get into the postseason. But they're going to have to get wins to do it.
That'll be fun. Most of the games that are at home are played on Saturdays.
Yep. This week it's Friday, actually. It's an anomaly, a little bit of an anomaly.
Yeah, but most of them are Saturdays. Mm-hmm. And then there are some road games that are Wednesdays. But look for the Armada on Saturdays as they beat the Cosmos on a Saturday as well. Hey, have you seen any of the video of the Masters track going on out at UNF?
I have not.
Who knew that there was hammer throw for the 60-year-old set? And there were people in their 70s who still run the 110 high hurdles.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty impressive to see that. And every one of those people credits their longevity and their vitality with their interest in sports and staying fit. As you would expect.
Yeah, and my best friend growing up was a college runner, track and cross country, and there's just and as a guy who basically played sports involved throwing and catching and hitting, we have a different physiology for sure. But it's something to see. He continues to run and bike to this day, 5-6 times a week, and I wish I was that dedicated to. I wish that was part of my lifestyle so much. I'll do some biking and do some running here and there, but it's not every day. And when you're 70 something and competing at that level, that's part of your everyday. My dad at that in his 70s runs 5Ks and just ran a half marathon. And does them slowly, but he finishes, right? And you get to a point where it's not about the speed, it's about the completion.
Right. And oh, by the way, and your dad will tell you, and I am not quite as old as your dad, but I will say that it doesn't matter how active you are. When you wake up, things still hurt, by the way. It still could be kind of painful. So I don't think we missed anything. I know the Royals are still pretty good, but I'm going to hold off on that since the Orioles dipped under 500 for the first time.
There'll be plenty more time to talk about the Royals. Yeah, no doubt.
We'll talk about that. All right, good. I hope you enjoyed the Sam and Cole podcast. Again, thanks to Champion Cycling for their continued support, so to speak. Stop in and see Brian or Phil at any one of their 3 locations, Arlington, the Beach, or at Mandarin. And as I mentioned, Cole, I think this is a start of a regular schedule for us, don't you think?
More regular for sure. And by the way, congratulations to you. Would you like to make the announcement of the new the big news of the week?
Well, for those of you who have lived in Jacksonville a while and know that I have 3 children, my oldest daughter Austin, who attended Bowles and was a star athlete there and went on to a great academic career at the University of Florida. Just had her first baby, a boy, about 2 weeks ago today. So a lot of fun. And people have asked me, well, what's that like? And I will tell you that it's exactly like when you have your own children. You get to hold that baby. It's the exact same feeling. So it's very kind of neat.
Somebody once told me that being a grandparent is the only highly rated thing that isn't overrated.
That's true.
So we'll find out.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree with that because as I read the other day, being a grandparent is how you imagined parenting should have been. So, all right, Cole. I'll see you next time right here on the Sam and Cole podcast.
You can follow Sam on Twitter at Sam Kavaras. Follow me on Twitter at Cole Pepper. And if you're on iTunes, listening to us on iTunes, leave a review and on Stitcher as well. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Sam and Cole podcast.